Welcome to Lethal Ledger, where we dive deep into crime file documentaries and podcasts. Like, subscribe, and share so the case studies can grow.
Greetings, seekers of truth, and welcome to the Ledger. I am Malachi, the casekeeper. For our returning investigators, welcome back to the archives. For those joining us for the first time, you've stepped into the heart of Lethal Ledger, your home for deep dive documentaries on crime, murder, and the biting sting of injustice. Before we turn the page today, I want to ask a favor. If you value independent investigative storytelling, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's the only way our case studies can grow and continue to highlight the stories the world often overlooks. Viewer discretion is strictly advised. The case we are opening today is deeply sensitive and pertains to the topic of suicide. If you or someone you know is struggling with thoughts of self-harm, please know you are not alone. You can call or text the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at any time in the US and Canada. Help is available 24/7. Now, the ink is dry, the evidence is gathered, the ledger is open.
Let me show you how it's done.
The Christmas Eve vanishing, 100 yards from home. The location, a quiet corner of San Antonio.
The story begins in the sprawling suburbs of northwest Bexar County, San Antonio, Texas. San Antonio is a city defined by community ties. But in December 2025, that sense of suburban security was shattered. The rugged terrain of South Texas, a deceptive mix of developed neighborhoods and dense, brush-filled fields, would become the backdrop for a search that gripped the nation. It was a search that took place in the shadow of Christmas, a time when the world is supposed to be bright, yet for one family, it was the beginning of a long, dark winter.
The subject, a life in motion.
Camila Mendoza Olmos was just 19 years old. At an age where most are just beginning to navigate the complexities of adulthood, Camila was a college student with her whole life ahead of her. To those who knew her, she was a dedicated student, a daughter, and a friend. However, beneath the surface of her daily routine, Camila was navigating intense personal turbulence. Investigative reports later revealed she had been struggling with significant stressors, the weight of academic pressure, and the emotional fallout of a recent mutual breakup. At 19, these factors can create a perfect storm of internal distress that remains invisible to the outside world until it is too late.
The disappearance, a Christmas Eve nightmare.
The timeline of the tragedy begins on the morning of December 24th, 2025. At approximately 7 a.m., Camila stepped out of her home for what appeared to be a routine walk. In hindsight, her preparations were the first red flags. She left behind her phone and her vehicle, taking only her car keys. Neighboring surveillance systems captured the final images of Camila. A doorbell camera and a vehicle's dash cam caught glimpses of her walking near her home. She looked like any other resident, but the reality was far more somber. When she failed to return home, her mother, gripped by an instinctual fear, contacted the Bexar County Sheriff's Office.
The search, a community mobilized.
The disappearance triggered a massive response. Sheriff Javier Salazar officially classified Camila as in danger. The search involved the FBI and volunteer groups like Texas EquuSearch, who combed through the thick Texas brush. During the search, a terrifying detail emerged. A handgun was missing from the family residence. This transformed the search into a race against time. For 6 days, the community held its breath while searching the dense vegetation that can easily hide a human form, even just yards away from a paved road.
The discovery, the bitter end.
On Tuesday, December the 30th, 2025, the search reached its tragic conclusion. Despite the area having been searched in the initial days, searchers returned to a field approximately 100 yards from Camila's home. The tall grass had previously obstructed visibility, but a more intensive sweep revealed the truth. Camila's body was found in the brush alongside the missing firearm. Her death was ruled a suicide caused by a gunshot wound to the head. The young woman who had walked out of her front door on Christmas morning never intended to walk back in.
Sheriff says the body was found close to the home where Camila Olmos lived. Now, the sheriff holding a news conference just after 5:15 tonight. He said it is too early to confirm if the body found is that of Camila Olmos, but he said there were signs that indicate that it could be Camila. The sheriff said there was no foul play suspected in the body that was found, but there was a gun found nearby, and the sheriff said that gun belongs to a family member of Camila's.
One of the possibilities that we were working under was the fear of self-harm, and at this point there are some indicators that the body that we found may be as a result of that. Obviously the medical examiner will have to make definitive identification.
The body was found near a landscaping business located along FM 1560, which is not far from the family's home. Now, the sheriff says they are waiting on the medical examiner to determine the cause and manner of death, which could take a day or two. We'll keep you posted and follow this as it develops. But reporting live on Taylor Whartonby, back to you.
Taylor, one of the things that the sheriff discussed was whether the person that they found was wearing what Camila was described as having worn when she disappeared. Can you talk a little bit about what he said?
Absolutely. He said the description changed a little bit, but the body that was found does match that description, so that's why they believe this is Camila. But it has to be confirmed, of course.
All right, Taylor, thanks a lot for that. And of course, the sheriff also mentioned they're hoping that that will be an expedited process as well.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Today's discovery was, as we mentioned, made by a landscaping company near the family's house.
It was an area search crews had been to before. It has tall grass, but FBI agents and Bexar County Sheriff's Office deputies today decided to go back and check again. News 4 San Antonio's Destiny Fuller is live. And Destiny, what are you seeing right now?
Mandy, Jonathan, we're right over here off of FM 1560, just behind me. This is not exactly the scene that we saw when we first got here. There was only one sheriff vehicle, but since then, we've seen several roll in here. We've also seen groups of friends, families, supporters, some of the more familiar faces that we've seen ever since Camila Olmos was reported missing on Christmas Eve. When we first got here, we were told that we weren't allowed to go onto the drive of the burning bush property. We were turned around and we parked on the opposite side of the street. But as I said, we've seen a lot of people start to show up here, a lot of traffic starting to build up here on this road. We know that there was a weapon found around the area, and we also know that this was an area that was searched before. People asking what happened, the sheriff saying that they did have someone come through and explaining exactly what caused them to come back.
Joint team comprised of BCSO deputies and FBI agents. We're conducting an open field search of a field where we had already checked once before, but due to high brush, we made a conscious decision to head back out there and check again. They found what we believe to be a body at this point.
And while they're not exactly sure who that body is, Sheriff Javier Salazar said it will take a couple of days to identify whoever that person may be. Again, adding that there was a firearm that was found with the body, and with the Camila Olmos case, there was an undisclosed weapon to the public that they found as well. And they're saying that it's going to take a couple of days, but it was hard to see Sheriff Salazar get choked up, just explaining that Camila had a couple of things going on in her life and that she was having a tough time. Again, they're not entirely sure exactly who it is. It'll take a couple of days to have that information. Mandy, Jonathan?
And the sheriff did say this is not the outcome that we were hoping for. The fact that it could be Camila is something that is a distinct possibility. As you mentioned, Destiny, she had so much going on in her personal life. She was a 19-year-old. It's the holidays. That she was going through a hard time with a breakup. What exactly was he saying about that, the sheriff?
I mean, you hit the nail on the head. He mentioned that a relationship had recently ended. She was a student. She was going through things at school. She was going through things with family and friends. Typical things that you would expect to hear from a 19-year-old. Again, we do not know for sure that this is Camila Olmos, but one thing that I can confirm is that right after that press release, when Sheriff Salazar finished talking, that clear alert that was put out for Camila was canceled.
All right, Destiny, thanks a lot for that. Also worth noting, the sheriff getting emotional at times during that press conference as he updated us. One of the other updates that he did in an unrelated case, there was another teen who was missing, a 14-year-old, Sofia Gabriela Peters Cobos. That was a separate incident, but the sheriff confirming that that teen has since been found safe, is with family.
However, 17-year-old Angelique Johnson, who has been missing from Exeter Road near Petrenko since last week, she is still missing. They are still looking for her.
But again, the headline tonight, a body has been discovered or was recovered roughly about 4:45. The sheriff giving us an update right now. No positive identification that it is, in fact, 19-year-old Camila Olmos, who's been missing for the better part of roughly a week or so. But they did mention that there was a gun that was found nearby, that there was also a gun that was missing from one of the relatives as well.
And deputies did go to her family, which was just a couple 100 yards away from where she lived and where the body was found, to let them know, not that it necessarily was Camila, but that a body had been found, just doing their part to keep the family updated in what has been a tragic, horrible time for them. The loved ones, the friends that have been pouring their hearts out, searching for Camila and hoping for a different outcome than the one that we may be facing.
We know that the sheriff's office had been searching. We know that FBI agents, we know that Texas EquuSearch from over in Houston was out here as well. And this story has made national headlines. People from across the country had been reaching out to find out more details. Sadly, as it appears right now, we are still waiting for confirmation. If in fact it is her, that will take a couple of days. But right now, the sheriff saying that there are indications that may be the case in this story.
The analysis.
As the case keeper, I look at the facts, but I also look at the injustice of the circumstances. How does a massive search involving the FBI and EquuSearch miss a body only 100 yards, the length of one football field, from the front door for 6 days? We often see this in crime files, the searcher's paradox, where the most obvious places are the hardest to see. But it leaves the family with a secondary trauma, the what if of those 6 days.
Closing the ledger.
We have reached the end of this entry for Camila Mendoza Olmos. It is a heartbreaking reminder that the most dangerous battles are often fought in total silence. Now I want to hear from you. Be sure to tell me what you think about this case. Give me your ideas in the comments below. Do you think the timeline adds up? Do you think anything nefarious is being covered up, or was simply missed in those first 6 days? What do you really think happened in those final moments? I want to read your theories. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe to help us keep these files active. Thank you for joining me in the archives today. And the ledger is now closed. We'll see you on the next video.
Camila was not taken by a stranger in the dark. She was lost to a moment of despair that outweighed her hope. As we close this file, we remember a 19-year-old girl from San Antonio whose story ended far too soon in a quiet field just steps from her front door. Tonight, as the sun sinks behind the houses she once walked past every day, we hold on to the light she left behind.